I should investigate. Oh, no, you don't. I'll look after you. It's like a place right out of a storybook. Everything's all right now. Don't be difficult. I mean you no harm. I'm not going to hurt you.
Levioso!
Levioso. Settle yourself. I mean you no harm.
Levioso!
Professor How... This looks intriguing.
Expelliarmus! Confringo! Defender!
One less.
Levioso!
Levioso. Reminds me of the time I nearly fell out of it.
Enjoy suffering, do you?
Who would a nice mushroom stew about now? Yeah. No! I will make you pay.
Nice to see you.
There's no telling what lies in wait for me in there. Everything's all right now.
Revelio.
Leviosa. Settle yourself. I mean you no harm.
I've been at this for hours.
Professor Howard will never believe.
Leviosa. You should never have come here.
Ah, here.
Leviosa.
There. I'm not going to hurt you. Any more cozy than Hogsmeade?
Hello. Mind you, don't turn quick. If you're stuck with a Duracell feather, it doesn't half hurt.
Hello.
Welcome to Brood and Peck. I'm Ellie Peck. And before you ask, I'm out of a Braxton hair. The lot of it was bought up by a trader in Ottery St. Catchpole. Made me take it in person, they did. No care that I had to shut the shop. Apparently had a bad experience with someone shipping them hair from a Wampus cat. Must have been someone from America, no doubt, because we don't even have them here. Anyway, what are you here for? Mooncalf fur? Duracell feathers? Always have trouble collecting them myself as the bird keeps disappearing. Cheeky thing. Used to carry them in the shop, Duracalls. But people kept asking for their money back when they'd get home and the blasted things would be nowhere in sight.
I can imagine that would be rather frustrating.
There's worse. Trust me. Most of the suppliers of whooper feathers may as well be living in St. Mungo's. Not surprising, I suppose, the cry on those things. Oh, but such marvellous feathers. Almost worth going mad for.
Sounds like stocking your shelves comes with some hazards.
Truer words never spoken. Used to carry beasts themselves. Good business it was, but had it up to here with parents grumbling. Not my fault if the little ones caught a flea of an easel. Ooh, you should have heard them. No, best with byproducts. And I do like to make sure the beasts are safe and well cared for. Couldn't guarantee that with some of these prospective owners. Now, why don't you have a good look around? Stocks change all the time, and not just because they disappear. Always best to pop in whenever you can to get things before they run out. Which they used to literally do.
Thank you, I will.
Take all the time you need. And thank you for stopping by. A treat to have you here.
What do you have for sale?
Now, what sorts of beast byproducts might you be looking to acquire? I don't mind selling things for certain clients. You know where to find me. I'll not mind seeing you here again. Consider yourself welcome.
Broadens the mind.
This could be the act Mr. Adley mentioned. Incendiary. So this is the infamous absconder. Pyrrhus totalis.
Incendio. Expelliarmus, Defender, Confringo. Incendio.
So this is the infamous absconder. Pyrrhus totalis.
Incendio. Expelliarmus, Defender, Confringo. Expelliarmus, Confringo, Defender, Incendio.
Well, that's taken care of. I need to find the heirloom for Milo's daughter.
Expelliarmus, Defender, Confringo. Incendio. Revelio. Lumos. Incendio. Defender. Confringo. Defender.
I need to bring this heirloom back to Mr. Adley.
Revelio.
Made right out of a storybook.
Ah, you look none the worse for wear. Oh, I take it you decided against entering the absconder's cave, then?
Mr. Adley, I retrieved the heirloom pocket watch from Milo's body.
Merlin's beard! How did you? Actually, I don't want to know. I don't want to think about that acromantula ever again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm glad Milo's daughter will have something to remember him by.
I am too. As far-fetched as his schemes were, Milo was a good friend, and I shall miss him. Please, accept this reward for your trouble.
What do you have for sale?
Milo can rest in peace now that his wishes have been fulfilled and his daughter has something to remember him by.
Up at Hogsfield. Now, where to find Mrs. Sprottle? Nice to see you again, Mrs. Sprottle. Actually, Sirona Ryan asked if I'd come and see you.
Oh, dear Sirona, a gem. Has been for as long as I've known her.
She thought you might need help collecting ingredients for your Wiggenweld potion.
And she's correct. My darling Aiden used to collect hawk lumps for me. Since he died, my supply has dwindled.
I'm sorry for your loss, Mrs. Sprottle.
Oh, thank you. Love of my life. A bit lost without him. If you wouldn't mind gathering some hawk lumps for me, I'd be happy to compensate you for your time.
I can certainly try and find some for you.
That would be wonderful. I'm worried about the travelling vendors and would love to get them more Wiggenweld potion.
Sirona also mentioned that Mr. Sprottle was bringing her a box of letters when he fell ill.
Indeed he was. I'd almost forgotten. I stumbled upon it just before Aiden died. He was hoping to go through it with Sirona over a butterbeer or two. Those two were always like two bowtruckles in a branch. Aiden took ill when he was collecting hawk lumps on his way to see her. He made it home, but I fear he dropped the box in the cavern. The cavern is in the hills just southwest of our hamlet. You can gather hawk lumps and collect the box of letters there.
Sirona said she lived with you during the summers when she was at Hogwarts. What was she like?
Oh, goodness. Well, she was almost exactly like she is now. Charming, good head on her shoulders, taking care of everyone. I can't tell you the fun we had when she and her friends would visit us during the year, all buzzing about, practicing charms. Talented group. Her friend Mirabelle was a genius in the garden. Learned it all from her muggle parents, if you can believe it.
Do you remember anything about the letters you put in the box?
Oh, of course. A few letters from some of her school friends. Some nice memories. I even included a letter Sirona had written to me when she was staying with us. Thought she might enjoy reading it. I know when I read writing from my youth, I'm always astonished at how much I've changed, and yet remain the same.
Thank you, Mrs. Sprottle.
Thank you. I'll be here if you are able to collect those hawk lumps. I and the vendors I help would greatly appreciate it.
This must be the cavern Mrs. Sprottle mentioned.
Lumos.
Better have a look around. See about the hawk lumps and the box of letters. That's at least one hawk lump. Getting there. Just a few more hawk lumps to harvest. Either I'll have to fight that troll, or we do it together.
Defender, Confringo. Expelliarmus, Confringo. Protego. Stupefy. Expelliarmus, Defender, Confringo. Expelliarmus. Defender, Confringo, Incendio. Expelliarmus. Depulso, Descendo. Protego, Stupefy, Defendo, Confringo. Descendo. Depulso. Descendo. Confringo. Defender, Depulso. Protego, Stupefy. Confringo. Descendo. Defendo. Confringo. Depulso.
That was a close one. That's all the Hawk clumps for now. Mrs. Sprottle should be pleased. This must be Sirona's box of letters. I think that's everything. Sirona will be glad to have this back.
Defender.
I should find Mrs. Sprottle. She'll be glad to get these hawk lumps. Not sure how I'd fare in a little place like this. Hello, Mrs. Sprottle. I have good news. I was able to harvest some hawk lumps for you, and I found Sirona's box of letters.
Oh, thank you. How wonderful. The travelling vendors will be thrilled to replenish their stock of Wiggenweld potion. And Sirona will be delighted to have those letters. How kind of you. Now you be careful heading back to Hogsmeade.
I should take this box of letters to Sirona. She'll be glad to have it back. Hello, Sirona. I have good news. I was able to provide your friend Mrs. Sprottle with some hawk lumps for her Wiggenweld potion, and I found your box of letters.
Oh, thank you. I knew you were the one to ask.
I wondered about some of the letters in the box.
Of course. It appears most of the letters were from fellow students.
One of the letters mentions Quidditch practice. Did you play?
I did. Was the Ravenclaw Seeker for 3 years. Oh, Merlin's beard. I adore Quidditch. Nothing like the feeling of catching the golden snitch when your team's down by 140 points. I'll never forgive Professor Black for cancelling it this year. I missed cheering for Ravenclaw.
I saw a letter from someone named Mirabelle. Is that Professor Garlick?
It is. Still one of my dearest friends. I know she wouldn't mind you having seen that letter. She and I are of a similar mind, especially when it comes to young people. We believe experience to be an invaluable teacher. To borrow a phrase from Mirabelle, it's a joy to see anyone blossom, but particularly one who doubted they ever would.
I spotted a letter from you to Mrs. Sprottle. You two seem to have a lot of fun together.
We do. She taught me so much during my summers with her and Aidan. I shall be the first to admit that adolescents aren't always the easiest to understand, and not everyone was as kind to me as the Sprottles. But the depth of their kindness, and that of so many of my friends, got me through some challenging times, to put it mildly.
I'm glad I could be of help. Mrs. Sprottle sends her best.
Don't know what I'd have done without her and Aidan. Thank you, again, for helping her, and for returning this box of letters. It's nice to reflect on good memories.
Adelaide Oaks, isn't it? I received your owl.
Yes, I'm Adelaide Oaks. Oh dear. You see, my Uncle Roland is a metal trader who's quite well known in the goblin community. He normally sends me owls every week when he's on his business travels. In his last owl, he alluded to dealings with those radical goblins, Ranrock's loyalists. It's been ages since that owl and I'm worried. What with the troll attack on Hogsmeade and the rumours that goblins may have been involved, well, I'm fearing the worst. Should I be worried about my uncle, or am I overthinking this?
I think you're right to be concerned, Adelaide. Your uncle may be in trouble.
You're much more understanding than Professor Weasley. She heard I was going to look for him and forbade me from leaving the grounds. She's convinced he can handle himself, but I can't concentrate on anything until I know he's all right. Could you try to find out for me? From what I hear, you're almost as adventurous as Uncle Roland.
Has your uncle traded with many goblins?
Yes, for ages. Even speaks gobbledygook. But he only recently mentioned Ranrock's lot, insisting the galleons were worth the risk. He does it for me. Between robes and supplies, attending Hogwarts costs a fair sickle. And besides that, Uncle Roland has expensive taste. He's sacrificed so much for me over the years. I promised him that as soon as I finish Hogwarts, I shall be the one taking care of him.
I take it you and your uncle are close.
We are. My mother died when I was born, and I lost my father when I was 5. Uncle Roland's looked after me for as long as I can remember. He knows I get anxious when he travels, and that's why he sends me all the owls, to let me know that he's all right.
I'll try and look into it for you, Adelaide.
Thank you. He's very thorough in his record keeping, notes all his trades in a journal, makes maps. In fact, in his last owl, he drew me a map of his next stop. He planned to set up camp north of here. I do hope you're able to find out where he is. Thank you again for any help you can provide. Oh, Uncle Roland, what have you got yourself into?
Could this be Mr. Oakes' campsite?
Oh, there's a hole in my pocket.
Ranrock's loyalists, just ahead. Should I take them by force or be discreet?
What have we here? Another human? Descender! Leviosa! Defender! Confringo!
I won't rest
until Potato! Stupid! Leviosa! Descender!
No! I will make you.
Let's find out what happened here. Mr. Oakes' trade journal. Adelaide said that her uncle kept notes of his trades, maps. Perhaps these landmarks will lead me to him.
Revelio! Revelio! Defender! Also.
This could prove dangerous if I'm not careful.
Lumos.
Levioso.
Settle yourself. I mean you no harm.
Well, if you weren't, we'd probably have more, wouldn't we? Can never have too many sacks, my friend. What was that sound?
Expelliarmus!
Did you hear that?
Somebody out there?
You're the one who stole our goblin help.
Expelliarmus! Good for you! There! Incendio! Revelio. Revelio.
No witch or wizard. What's that?
What do we have here?
Fancy yourself to be...
I may have more luck higher up in the keep. This castle's hiding.
Incendio. Confringo.
This is the spot on the map. I best have my wits about me.
If you're there. Oh, that was meant for me. Bless you. You're
Don't do that again, I beg you! I can do this for hours!
Oh, delicious. Totalis.
I will make you pay.
Here. It looks as though Adelaide's instincts were spot on.
Aloha, Mora. You've won Revelio.
A human's word is worthless. This prisoner owes us the metal belongings.
Such a I will
Protect
I will make you pay.
You won't get away with that.
A boiler door. How to open it?
You're not a mum. I won't rest. Not quite. How nice of you to stop by. Spells glance off.
If only Renrock were here to see this.
Defender.
You can't stop us. You won't stop me. Was that your best? You monkey. That was meant for me. I've been fighting since before you were born.
I shall avenge your death. You won't get away with that.
Ranrock has fooled you all. To your demise. Revelio.
Revelio. Incendio. Revelio. Confringo.
I wonder if Adelaide's uncle.
Kill spells glance off of me.
This is funny. You won't bet.
Confringo! You won't stop me. Easily diverted.
Pity, not quite.
Leviosa! Confringo! Hello? Mr. Oakes?
Yes, I'm here. They've taken my wand. This cell has an enchanted lock. I have experience with these locks, but I need my wand if I have any chance of opening it. Look for a boiler door. I've heard them speak of it.
I need to find Mr. Oakes' wand. Where could it be? This must be Mr. Oakes' wand. Perhaps now he can set himself free.
You did it! I found my wand and... Wait, you're a student? Oh, we must get you to safety immediately. It's dangerous.
It's all right, Mr. Oakes. I've dealt with these goblins before.
Dear Merlin, you're either very lucky or very talented. Well, how did you find me?
I'm a friend of Adelaide's. She was worried about your business with Ranrock's loyalists.
Oh, she was right to be. I couldn't go through with the agreement, and when I told them, I ended up blindfolded and behind bars. Been locked in that infernal cell for so long, they'd forgot I was even there. I overheard things. If only I could reward you for what you've done. Blasted goblin stole every Caynaan on me. All I can say is thank you, truly.
You mentioned you overheard things.
sad tale, really. I think I know where Ranrock's unfortunate vendetta against wizardkind began. Although dragon breeding was outlawed by the Warlocks Convention of 1709, Ranrock stumbled upon an illegal dragon camp. He was young, found the creatures fascinating. He'd visit the camp in secret whenever he could, never making his presence known. After weeks of sly surveillance, he finally summoned the courage to speak to the wizard in charge. Ranrock wanted to join them, and the creatures. The wizard happened to drop his wand. Ranrock saw an opportunity. He picked it up, went to hand it back as a means of introducing himself. The sight of a goblin with a wand sent the wizard into an instant rage. He beat Ranrock nearly to death. Ever since, Ranrock has despised wizardkind, sees us all as cruel.
Am I right that you speak gobbledygook?
Unbeknownst to Ranrock's fiends, I do. I've always had an affinity for goblin culture. Knew I wanted to be a metal trader ever since I was a lad. It wasn't easy learning the language. It's complex, and my memory's as weak as my knees these days. But after decades working with fine goblin folk, I grew fairly proficient. At least, I'd like to think so.
I'm grateful I was able to help you, Mr. Oakes. Adelaide thinks the world of you.
Oh, and I her. She's become quite savvy to my trading habits, always analyzing my detailed owls. If only I hadn't resorted to trading with such fiends. A lesson I shan't soon forget. Having my wand back is like being reunited with an old friend. I must return home and inform Adelaide of my safety. Will you be all right?
I'll be fine, Mr. Oakes. You get back to Adelaide. I assure you, her worries outweigh yours.
Oh, I'm anxious to see my dear niece. And then I plan to travel far from here for my next round of trading. Thank you. May life reward you justly for your deeds. Be well, my friend.
Mr. Oakes was lucky. Ranrock's lot would never have freed him.